back to my channel, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going through all of the books that I have ever rated 5 stars in my reading career, and I'm going to be saying whether I still think that they're 5 stars, whether they're not, and I feel like there's going to be a few of those, and just kind of discuss like the books that I used to rate 5 stars to now and how big of a difference it is, how much it's changed, because definitely being a reader, you're constantly changing your kind of like tastes, what you do like in a book, what you look for in a book, and it is actually very interesting to see like where you start out compared to where you are now. So I have actually been reading for 3 years, I'd like to say. I think I like started my sort of reading journey back up in 2021. And since then, that's been like my primary hobby. I absolutely love it. And I've read a lot of amazing books, but definitely starting out in 2021, I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know what Book Talk was. I was just like, I was like going to Tesco into the book section. I was like, that one's got a cute cover. I'll just get that one. Didn't know anything about it. And it's crazy that now I would never do that. Like, it's kind of sad. That was maybe even a more peaceful time in my reading career. But anyway, I actually was an avid reader as a child. Like, I was always reading as a child. I loved the Harry Potter books. I loved all Jacqueline Wilson. Like, I used to read Jacqueline Wilson like it was going out of fashion. Like, her books were going out of fashion. I read a lot of Kathy Cassidy, I believe. All the Dork Diaries. I was like, sign me up. As soon as the new Dork Diaries came out, I was like, getting my basket. I'm so excited. Like, I used to receive books for Christmas, for birthdays. It was just my favourite thing ever. And then, like most readers, I feel like things went downhill. I went to high school and I just stopped reading. I missed out on a good chunk of great reading time because I just couldn't think of anything worse than picking up a book. I don't know why that happens to like people. They love being readers as kids, and then as soon as high school hits, it's like, no, I do not want to pick up a book, which is kind of sad. And then I dabbled in reading a little bit during lockdown. In lockdown, kind of like picked up a few books. I read a few Stephen Kings. I read a lot of thriller horrors, which I think is the case for a lot of new readers. Like, why do we all gravitate to the thriller section? I don't know. But I did not want to pick up a romance. Like, that was not in the cards for me. So I kind of like dabbled in a few thrillers. Don't even know where those books ended up. They're literally gone. I think I was just like, yeah, this is a book, I'll read it, and then I'll donate it to the charity shop. Whereas now I'm like, my babies, literally my babies. No one is getting rid of these. Like, Housefire, I'm running out with my entire bookcase. So since then, I have read a lot more books. I've definitely gravitated to more. As the years have gone on, I found out that I love romantasy and I love fantasy as well. Just anything like that. Akata introduced me to that journey. I love romance. Without further ado, grab a drink, grab a fun snack, because we like to chat over here. I've got a Pepsi Max. It's caffeine free, which is a bit random, but grab a drink, grab a snack. We're going to talk about all the books that I've ever rated 5 stars, and if I still think that they are 5 stars now. Say that 5 times fast. Quickly, before we go into the books that I've rated 5 stars, I am gonna tell you kind of like how I rate books, like my kind of rating system. 1 star is like, I despised this book and I nearly DNF'd it, or I did DNF it, and I like hate it with a passion. Like, I think about that book and hate it. If I rate a book 2 stars, this means it was really, really, really challenging to get through and I heavily disliked it, but I pushed on because I wanted to know the ending. If I rated a book a 3 stars, that means it was alright. It was like, you know, the plot was okay. It was enjoyable, definitely. But would I think about it again? No. But would I recommend it? Maybe. If I rate a book of 4 stars, this means that I loved it. I was like giggling, emotion was coming out while I was reading it. I didn't want to put it down. But then after I finished it, did I think about it too much after closing the book? Maybe not. And then if I rate a book a 5 stars, this means that I just loved it. Forever will think about it. It feels like it's a part of me and it's lodged in my heart. I loved every aspect and I wouldn't change a thing. I've got my trusty dusty Goodreads account up on my laptop here, and I'm just kind of going to go through. These are in no particular order. So the first one I've got here is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. This is the second book in the Bridgerton series. I actually read the entire Bridgerton series, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3. I just randomly like read them, and I love a historical romance. There's something about the language, the dresses, how fancy it all is. It just feels so beautiful and romantic. There's like no slang. It's very like proper. I love it. And I did really like the Bridgerton series. Would I still rate it 5 stars? Yeah, I'm going to say I would rate that one 5 stars. The Viscount Who Loved Me is my favourite Bridgerton book for sure. That one is really good. Next we've got When He Was Wicked, which is the 6th Bridgerton book by Julia Quinn. I'm not going to rate this one 5 stars anymore. Couldn't even tell you who this one's about. Like, I genuinely don't even know like who this book is about. I think it's about Francesca. We're gonna move that one down, and we're gonna say that one is now a 4 stars. And then next I've got City of Ashes, which is the second book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. Yeah, it literally says it here. I don't know why I'm like, is it by Cassandra Clare? Yeah. So I would rate this now maybe a 4. I think I'm gonna move it down. I've read a lot more fantasy since this. This was probably one of the first ones I picked up, and not gonna lie, I can't even remember the plot. Like, why I have rated the second book a 5 stars, I couldn't tell you. Next we've got The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen, and I'm not going to say his last name because I don't want to butcher it, but they'll all be on the screen anyway. I would no longer rate this 5 stars. Fun fact, this is actually the first book I ever read when I got back into reading, and I don't know why. I think it was because I was like seeing it on Pinterest, and I was like, I want to be one of the Pinterest girlies. It's a great book, don't get me wrong, but like, do I have any emotional attachment to it? Do I ever think about it? No. Yeah, moving on. City of Bones, which is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I'm gonna say no. The shade, it sounds like I'm throwing at Cassandra Clare right now. I'm not, it's just, I just can't remember anything about it. Next we've got all of the Harry Potters. I'm just going to do them as a chunk. I've rated every single Harry Potter on here 5 stars. Does that still stand? Yes, absolutely. I'm a major Harry Potter stan, although actually I will say the second one, Prisoner of Azkaban, no, that for some reason that's the worst one to me. Like, when that film comes on, I'm like, ugh, and I like always skip it. I don't know why. I would probably rate that one a 3. And next we've got Misery by Stephen King. 5 stars, absolutely. I love this book. The nostalgia that I feel, because I read it in like lockdown, it's really weird, but I have such a deep connection to this book. Like, not in that way because it's a really weird plot, but just like the way that I just remember the time I read it and I loved it. So good. I really want to get into Stephen King's books. Okay, next we've got My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. I rate this 5 stars. I think that still stands. I think this is a really beautiful book, and it's really, really well written, and it did make me cry, so it brought out emotion in me. Yeah, I'd say that's a 5 star. Now we've got A Court of Mist and Fury by Miss Sarah J Maas. Yes, this is still a 5 star. Absolutely. Probably my favourite book in the entire world. Literally, oh, it's so good. I've reread that already, and I'm going to reread it again this year. Something about the romance in that book just actually has lodged itself in my heart, and I just think about it all the time. Like, I love that book so much. Feyre and Rhysand, best book couple I've ever read, hands down. Then we've got It Ends With Us by Miss Colleen Hoover. Now, as with most people, I got into Colleen Hoover at the start of my reading journey, and I no longer read her books at the moment. I just don't. I don't really know why. I mean, we all have different thoughts on this book, and I will never lie, like, Colleen Hoover's books, if I thank her, because If I didn't discover her as an author, I would not be a reader today, I don't think. I think I would have kind of like picked the hobby up, then dropped it. But I was so invested in her books and they really got me into reading, and I found them so easy to fly through. And I think that's what made me be like, yes, I could be a reader, because I was just flying through these books and the plots were like wild. But would I still rate it 5 stars to this day? No, purely for the reason that I've just read more. But this book did start off my reading journey 100%, so I will always thank it, you know. Then we've got Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Now this is still a 5 star for me. I loved this book. I flew through it and it made me so sad at the end. I literally cried. I was so attached to the character, the main girl. I just loved this book so much. It is really sad, so don't like go into it lightly, but it is really good. Then we've got a bit of a switch up in the genres. We've got My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Now I'm not a horror thriller girly, but this one made me want to be a horror thriller girly. Like this, the vibes that this book had, honestly, were insane. So it's like set in the 80s and every chapter is a song from the 80s, and oh, the vibes, I don't even know, like I just binged it. I read it in a day. I'm not even a horror girl, but any book recommendations that you have that is similar to this book, please give me them, because this feeling of reading it was so fun. It was kind of like almost, it was like reading an 80s slasher film, and I loved it. It was so good. Also, it gives off major Stranger Things vibes. I'm looking outside because it's literally just started raining. I knew it was going to rain, you know, when the sky just all of a sudden goes so dark. Then we've got A Court of Silver Flames by, again, Miss Sarah J Maas, Queen Sarah J Maas. Would I rate this a 5 stars to this day? Yeah. Yeah, I would. This is insane. My 2 favourite ACOTAR books ever are A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Silver Flames. They're the only 2 that I did rate 5 stars. They are literally like 6-star reads to me. Like, oh, insane. I love them so much. I can't decide which one I prefer because I do love Nesta, and I think her story, the whole series just took a turn, and Nesta's story is more like girl boss, like female empowerment. I loved all of the characters. It kind of, the romance, although it was very prevalent, took a backseat, and I really enjoyed it. Loved it. Next we've got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now I would still rate this a 5 star. If you follow my Goodreads, which I'll try link it below, I'm really not a great reviewer on there. For Daisy Jones and the Six, I've said unreal ! Okay, thank you. Like, give us more. I just clearly type it up real quick after finishing it. This book is set in an interview style, and there's now a TV show which is just as good. Like, oh, I love that show. I think the whole vibe of the book is insane. I literally googled if it was a real band after, because it convinced me that this band was a real band. And the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes is so good, because she actually makes you believe that these people are real, and they're not. And you're left thinking like, what? These people are not real? Like, huh? The next one we've got is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Would I still rate this a 5 star? No, I think I'd say 4 star. I actually was meant to buddy read this with my boyfriend when he was in his reader era, and he was too slow at reading it, so I read it all by myself, and he didn't like it and he never finished it. Now we've got the whole Boys of Torment series, which I'll just group together as a whole because I've rated all of them, every single one, like all 5 that are currently out, 5 stars. This is a 6-star series for me, and I did just post a reading vlog of Taming 7, so I'll link that below as well, and check that out if you want. This series, literally think about it every day. It's my Roman Empire. I constantly think about the characters. It literally is lodged in my heart. It holds such a special place. And it rewired my brain chemistry. Like, it changed me as a person and as a reader. Please do not let the size of these books deter you as well, because they are literally huge, but they fly by. For my review of these, I've put, for Binding 13, I put infinite stars. And then for Keeping 13, I put We'll Never Get Over Shannon and Johnny. For real. Then we've got The Roommate by Rosie Denan. This I would not rate a 5 stars anymore. I don't even know why I've rated it as 5 stars. It's kind of just like a cheesy rom-com type of vibe. So this was one of them cases, I think, where I read it on holiday. So the vibe of being on holiday clouded my judgment. And I just was like, I love being on holiday. 5 stars. It's not 5 stars, girl. It's still a good book though. And then I've got Underneath the Sycamore Tree by B. Celeste. This is 100% a 5-star read. And if you are looking to cry your eyes out, then please read this book because it is so sad. Oh my gosh, definitely 5 stars. Like, I was in bits after reading this. Next, we've got The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Yes, I would still rate it as 5 stars. I recently finished this. It was my first Ali Hazelwood book, and yes, 100% 5 stars. Loved all the characters, loved the writing, and it was really, really cute. Now I've got the whole Magnolia Park series, because I believe I have actually rated the whole Magnolia Park series of 5 stars. Yes, this still stands. Literally one of the best series. If you're looking for a series where you're going to be so invested in the friend group and like the core characters, then please read this book. And if you're just looking for like a book that reads like a reality TV show, like you're watching a reality TV show, this is the one for you. But please beware of like the toxicity. So I feel like I should warn you. Okay, then I've got Carrie Soto is Back. Yes, this is still a 5 stars. I'm going to reread this soon because it gives me summer vibes for some reason. And it is literally insane. Like, I don't like tennis at all. I don't care about tennis. But this book made me kind of want to pick up tennis. And if you've recently watched the Challengers film, then this is probably for you if you enjoyed that film, because they kind of give me similar vibes. It's just insane. And it's girl boss. Definitely 5 star. Then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Would I still rate it as a 5 star? No, I think I'm going to knock it down to a 4 star, purely for the reason that, again, I read this on holiday and I think that clouded my judgment. It's definitely not the best fantasy I've ever like read, and I don't think about it at all. Then we have Heartless by Elsie Silver, the second book in the Chestnut Springs series. Yes, I would 100% still rate this a 5 star. Yeah, I think about this book on the daily. Willa and Cade, they're up there with top book couples ever. Like, oh my god, flew through that book. Fourth Wing is Next by Rebecca Yarros. This, everyone knows about this. I'm not gonna lie, this went crazy viral last year and I've rated it 5 stars. I think that's still true. I'm gonna give it a 5 stars still because it was a really good fantasy book. I've not read the second one yet though, and I've heard mixed opinions. Ooh. Now I've got The Housemaid's Secret, which is the second like for Frida McFadden, The Housemaid kind of series. I don't know if I can get behind the fact of making a thriller book into a series. Like, surely a thriller is more of just like a standalone, and she's bringing out a third one. What more is there to say, you know? However, saying that, I've rated the second one a 5 stars and I will probably read the third one. This was really good as far as thrillers go. For me, I'm not a thriller girly and I never have been. I never really read them unless I'm properly in the mood. But this one, I was on the edge of my seat and I couldn't stop reading it. I was like turning the page. Well, I wasn't because I was on my Kindle, but I was pressing the next page. And it was really good. Then we've got The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Would I still rate this a 5 stars? Yeah, it's like the coziest romantic love story I've ever read, and I have been thinking about the characters ever since. Okay, then we have Reckless by Elsie Silver, which is the 4th Chestnut Springs book. Would I still rate this a 5 stars? Yeah, I think I would, because although I will say it's definitely not my favourite out of Heartless and Reckless, it was still really, really good, and I ate it up. I loved all the characters, like Theo and Winter, insane, loved them. And the whole plot and everything, guys, if you've not read Chestnut Springs, please read it because it's perfect for summer. Then I've got 6 Scorched Roses, which is actually the Crowns of Nyaxia novella, which, kind of crazy that I've rated a novella 5 stars, but honestly, it is a really, 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 really good novella. Like, honestly, the novella is better than the book, like the first book, which is wild to make a novella that good. I will say I won't rate it 5 stars anymore. It's just not long enough. to be 5 stars. I'm going to say 4.75, so we're still up there, but just not 5 stars. This is literally like the most beautiful love story, and it came out of nowhere. Like, the characters in this novella aren't even in the first book. It literally just came out of nowhere. I think they're in the next book, but their love story is, oh, it was so good. And then I've got Hopeless, the 5th book in the Chestnut Spring series. Okay, I forgot I rate this one 5 stars. I'm going to keep it as 5 stars purely for the fact of nostalgia and how much I just love the series as a whole, and the finale literally brought me tears of joy. Like, I was so happy for everyone, so I'm just going to leave it because it made me feel happy. Then we've got Seeing Red, which is the 2nd book in the Wells Ranch series. This is by Bailey Hannah, and if you've just watched my May reading wrap up, I'll link it, then you will see that I rated a 4.75 there. However, upon reflection, I was going through Goodreads and I was like, I think about this book a lot. I'm going to rate it 5 stars. Like, it is a 5 stars to me because I think about it so often, and I loved the characters so much. Like, I love the Wells Ranch series so much. I think that is the last book I've rated a 5 stars. So I'm going to count them up and see how many books I've actually rated 5 stars since being back in my reader era. Okay, so since 2021, when I kind of got back into my reader girl era, I have read a grand total of I have read 163 books, and out of those books I have rated 48 5 stars. Why do I feel like that's kind of a lot? I am genuinely quite a high rater of books anyway, and to be quite completely honest, like, I do tend to just rate books off of feeling. However, that seems a little bit, like, quite a lot, and I would change a lot of these books, I will say that. I think that although clearly at the time I loved them, and I definitely, like, will keep them as 5 stars on Goodreads and stuff, I wouldn't actively speak about them as 5 stars now, which is pretty interesting to see, like, how much you change. And it's also really nice to see that, like, I loved that book at that time, and that's fine, because, like, that is frozen in time. I loved it at that time, I rated it 5 stars then, and that will forever just be that moment. Whereas, like, now, this is probably my moment of 5 stars, and I might look back and be like, no, I don't rate that 5 stars anymore in like 2 years time. But it's just interesting to see the nice little journey that you go on as a reader and all the different changes that you make. I feel like I need a little sip of my drink now. So that is the video today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I would love to know what books you rated 5 stars, and any books that you did rate 5 stars and you look back and you're like, girl, what was you doing? Like, which ones did you just think, no, that is not 5 stars anymore? Because I think it is so interesting to see how much your mind changes. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, because it really helps a girl out, and I love reading everyone's comments because it's so lovely. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.